Hey guys, it's Ashley from Upside Goods Company, and I am excited, as always, to be bringing you this video today because here's the thing. I see a lot of the same questions asked over and over again, and it's normal. Let me tell you that first and foremost. But a lot of the questions are circulating around there on different Facebook groups and YouTube comments, things like that. And honestly, I feel like we're all in this incubator of knowledge, and we just want that one-on-one, tell me directly the answer to my question rather than me go find it myself world. So I wanted to put together a video of the most asked questions that I see, as well as some tips and tricks for candle makers out there. So whether you're just starting your journey, you're a year or two into it, or you're just wanting some shits and giggles along the way and seeing what my experience has been and what I've witnessed, I'm going to share all of that today. My name is Ashley. I am a candle maker, and as of December of 2020, I launched my candle business, Upside Goods Company. Along the way, though, over the last 6 years, I consider myself a serial entrepreneur, meaning that I have started quite a few businesses and proud to say I've kept them going. My background is marketing and definitely business-related topics, and I help other small businesses try and get well-versed in everything that they might need to be doing to reduce overwhelm and to grow their business while being the owner, the accountant, the finance person, and most likely all the way down to janitorial duties. Basically, we have a lot of hats to wear, and my job is to try and help you get your name out there while not stressing yourself out too much. If you guys haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. I would love for you guys to come along this journey with me of me starting a product-based business. And I'm really taking you guys along with me, all of the highs and the definite lows, and of course, all the pricing questions along the way. So let's dive into it today. I made a list of some of the most asked questions that I see out there on the Facebook chat groups and through social media questions, both on and offline, and some emails that I get along the way from you guys. Now, I do want to have a disclaimer on this. Some of my answers might sound a little jaded or harsh. That is not at all the tone that I'm trying to share. I just hope that you guys look at this with a different point of view and maybe some suggestions along the way that you could take with you on questions that you might ask other candle makers. Let's get started. So the first question that I see so much on different Facebook groups and comments and all of the things, I can probably stop saying that now, but just the questions that I see the most: how do I center my wicks? So I am always balling on a budget, as you guys can tell from my other videos if you watched them. And honestly, the tried and true thing that I go to still to this day is rubber bands. I don't know why it's that hard. I don't know. But I've even had people be like, oh, there must be not centered, or the vessel is uneven when you put a rubber band on it. And it's like, no, you just put a rubber band, cross it, snug as a bug that wick in there, and then make it nice and even on the bottom. And if you shop at Whole Foods, it's free because they give you rubber bands all the time to seal your food. I don't know. I'm probably oversimplifying that, but it works really well for me, and I'm about 5,000 candles in to date and haven't had a problem yet. So, pro tip, save yourself some money. I think you can also get a bag of 300 rubber bands, which you'll never need in an entire lifetime, at Target for $4. I'm all about those fancy wick centering tools, though. I mean, I think that they're absolutely beautiful and gorgeous, but I don't know. Only I'm going to see them. So that one really works for me. And I've included a link up here and show you guys exactly how I do it. Yay! On to the next one. Can you guys tell I'm feeling saucy today? How do I print my labels? Ah, that's a really, really million-dollar question. And I'll be honest with this one. It's a serious question to be asking and doing your research and development on. The main reason being, your labels are literally the face of your product. So if somebody never meets you and they walk into a store and they see your candles or whatever product you're making out there on the shelves, that's your first impression, Rose, guys. And I don't even watch The Bachelor, and I know that. So it's really important that you don't skip the steps on printing labels. This little tidbit of information probably won't give you enough information about what you really need to be doing to explore and researching and trying out different avenues with labels. I did make a video about labels at home and how I print them, and I also made a video about how I go through Avery for a lot of my labels. Now, if you're new to my channel or new to my brand, I make a black label with white lettering. And I have tried all of the printers, literally all of them, inkjet, laser, thermal. Don't put the thermal label on your candle, guys. Just think about it. Thermal, hot, candle, no. Anyway, I've tried inkjet and laser printers to make a saturated black label. And it's just not the quality that I feel comfortable with being my first impression on the shelves. So I always get my black or heavily saturated labels printed professionally. I don't know what kind of printer they use there, but it's nice. And it's definitely quick and easy turnaround for me. And I think I spend on average anywhere from like 25 cents to 39 cents a label, depending on my order quantity. And it absolutely is unparalleled. The ink doesn't rub off. It's not smudging. It's nice. Now, if you're printing a label that isn't as saturated, meaning that it's a dark background or a colored background with maybe white lettering, then you can definitely look at printing at home. Some of the labels that I've done at home are for my travel candles, which are a white label with black print. And they come across really, really nice. So the things I want you to know from this are do your research, order some testing labels, do some at home. If you're printing on a matte label, meaning that there's no finish, inkjet will absolutely do the job. If you're printing on some sort of glossy or waterproof finish, I absolutely encourage you guys to try out a laser printer. If you're not sure what printer that you need, I've linked those in the video above. So definitely take a look at that video. It's a helpful resource and I dive completely into all things inkjet, laser, and even thermal. But just again, guys, please don't put a thermal label as your candle label. Another tip that I wanted to share with you guys in regards to the label making, if you're doing it at home, I see a lot of questions out there about like, why does my label look grainy? Like it's really sharp on the screen, but when I print it out, it's grainy. There's two things that I really recommend you guys looking at. Look at the DPI. I don't know what that stands for, but look at it under your printer settings and change that to high quality, meaning that there's gonna actually be more drops of ink. Maybe that's what DPI means. I don't know. But look at the DPI settings and making sure that it's at the highest quantity possible. That's meaning that it's going to be less pixelated and more crisp whenever you print it. And a pro tip here that it took me a really, really long time to understand. If you're working in a software like Canva and you download as a high quality image like PNG or JPEG, don't do that. Do it as PDF print. That is going to be a game changer. And then if you go like me, I print or I design in Canva and I print in Avery, even if I'm printing at home, when I go in there, it's going to say, well, your PDF might look a little blurry. Don't let that deter you. Once it prints out, it is way better and crisper as if you were to print the file as a PNG or a JPEG. I don't know what kind of wizardry happens behind the scenes, but I promise you, this is the best tip that I can give you guys. Print with a high quality DPI, high settings, and print as a PDF. All right, one of the other questions that I see all the time on a daily basis, if not hourly, is what wick should I be using? And here's the deal, guys. I've had these questions before in the past, so I'm definitely not gonna knock those who ask them. But in all of these questions that you have, especially if you're using a forum like Facebook, there is a little search bar at the top of the Facebook group. If you go to the main page of the group that you're in, go to that top little icon bar, type in all of the keywords that you have, like what wax you're using, what vessel you're using, what inch diameter it is, any of that stuff, and I guarantee you there's gonna be a whole laundry list of answers for you. If that's not your style, then go to the wax supplier that you bought the wax from. Go to their wick selection guide. Most of them should have it. And if they don't have it, you need to be emailing them right away and let them know, hey y'all, if I'm gonna buy my wax from you, you need to be giving me a guide on what's the best type of wicking solutions I can have for different diameters of vessels. You can absolutely do that. So what we wanna make sure that we're doing is we're looking at those wick selection guides and finding it for ourselves. Here's the thing, guys. These questions clog up the feeds all the time, and everybody has their own rhyme or reason as towards what size wick they've used. But the thing that I want to share with you guys, especially if you're a new candle maker, it's always wonderful to hear from other candle makers what's worked for them. But really, the rule of thumb should be going to the supplier, seeing what type of wick they recommend, testing it for yourself with your own eyes, and then trusting your gut on if you need to move up or down from that wick selection that you chose. I know that sounds a little harsh, but I promise you guys, I think I would have saved a lot of time on the front end as a new candle maker if I actually didn't go and ask these questions as much, because they really sometimes derailed me completely far off track from what I needed to do based on what someone else was working in their own home or their own candle making practice. I'm not saying that it doesn't help. I'm not saying that sometimes those answers aren't right, but I am just saying that more often than not, we're not trusting our gut on what we need to do, and we're trusting some random stranger on Facebook or whatever platform we're asking. Just my 2 cents. One of the other questions that I always see on any of these forums is, what's the best smelling fragrance oil? Or what's the best smelling fall fragrance? Or what's the best smelling holiday fragrance? Or the best that I always see is, someone asked for this custom tiger's blood scent. How do I find that? So this is where I get a little maybe jaded by all of this, but I think it's kind of funny because if you're taking the time to ask this to candle making groups or forums, then maybe just take the time to take that same exact question, type it into Google, or go to these suppliers' websites. And you guys, like for instance, Candle Science, if you go to their homepage, they have a top 10 best-selling scents. They have top holiday scents, they have top fall scents, they have top all the scents. Call me crazy, but it's instant answers to your questions, and you don't have to wait for admin approval, and you can just get the feedback right then and there. Now, maybe if you have a question about one of the specific scents and you want to take it to the forum, then ask a specific question of like, what do you think this smells like? Or does this smell like the description? I think those would be more fruitful questions for you to be asking, and then you'll get really direct feedback. I promise you, every single time. Those are the questions I actually love answering too. Like, no, this definitely did not smell like that, or that smelled like a foot rather than grass. I don't know. Another top question that I always see is, how do you ship? Here's the thing, I get it. Shipping is stressful and scary, and there really isn't a person out there that doesn't have a horror story from the post office. Or maybe if you do, please let me know, because I'd really love to hear different stories at the post office rather than the ones that I experience, because they're awful. I digress. I personally use Pirate Ship, and what I found is that you just need to go in and you need to rip off the Band-Aid and figure out how you need to work shipping. Basically, the key points that I want to share with you guys are, you always need to know the dimensions of your box and the weight of your box. And then you can go pretty much into any shipping platform, whether it's FedEx, UPS, USPS, Pirate Ship, ShipStation, Shopify Ship, all the shipping platforms that are out there, and you can go and shop rates. But here's the thing, at the end of the day, shipping is a pain in the ass and it's expensive. There really isn't a catch-all, tell-all way to kind of skirt the issue of paying for shipping. And it is a pain in the butt, you guys, and I'm so sorry that we all have to deal with it. I actually just shipped 4 of my signature size candles the other day to North Carolina, not even rush shipping, and it cost me over $20. To say I was a little upset about and bothered by that is absolutely an understatement. So I get where you guys are coming from on like what to do with shipping. But I find that more often than not, there's kind of like this Oz type figure behind the curtain that we consider to be shipping. And rather than just like making dummy accounts and going in there and just playing with the rates ourselves, that's really going to be the best way that you can find how, where, and when to ship and what to ship with. Another question that I see a lot is, where do I start? I'm interested in being a candle maker, but I have no idea where to even start. And a lot of times that question makes me laugh, because I think that it's more scary actually to ask that question to these seasoned candle groups than it would be to go privately and just search on YouTube or Google. So honestly, you've done the hardest part, which is asking where to start. But I see, again, a lot of people asking that question day in and day out, which is totally fair. And that means a lot more people are curious and interested in becoming candle makers. And quite honestly, the more the merrier. But again, that's where that search bar in the Facebook groups comes in handy, especially if you're doing it in a curated group setting like that. go to that and just says, where do I begin? I want to start making candles. And I promise you there's going to be heaps of information there. But the best way that I can share it with you guys is, again, going to Google or going to these candle suppliers if you already know which one you want to work with, and just putting in their starter kits. And that's really the best way to start. It's how I did it, and it's how most people do it. What that does is it gives you a bunch of different waxes you can play with or suggestions, gives you a bunch of wick ideas, and then obviously you're going to know what scents you like just based off of what you hear or what you've bought in other stores. So just start there. Did I oversimplify that enough? I don't know. Next thing that I wanted to share with you guys is something that I see a lot. I'm trying to build an Instagram following. Can you guys go and follow, and I'll follow back? Here's where my marketing and business brain is going to put the kibosh on asking for follow trains. It is really, really nice to see that nice ego serotonin boost of all of these people following your Instagram or social media. I get that. And we put a lot of weight into follower counts and follower numbers, myself included. Trust me, I like to see that count go up. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, most likely candle makers are not going to buy your candles. Some might, and I've had some that have been really supportive of my business, and I try and buy other candle makers' candles as well. But here's the deal. At the end of the day, when we're actually building a profitable business, we need our target audience to be our followers and not necessarily other like brands. A couple reasons why this is really important. The algorithms behind the scenes with Instagram are going to then say, oh, here's candle makers that are following other candle makers. So here's more candle makers. And then we're going to start popping up on their feeds. They're going to start popping up on our feeds or discover pages. And we're starting to dilute our actual customers and target audience. Yes, they can be one and the same, but honestly, at the end of the day, I'm not that much of a gambler, but when I am gambling, I want to gamble on putting my time, energy, and following strength into those who would actually buy my candles, as opposed to those who are actually making candles right alongside me. Now, do I follow other candle counts? Yes, I do. Do I hope that they follow me? Of course, the more the merrier. But at the end of the day, I really need to be making sure that my hashtags and my content and the things that I'm sharing on my social media are for my clients when it's under my business page. I hope that that makes sense. And if you guys have questions about that, I could talk about it for absolute hours. But I really think that we need to start not having so many follow trains and really start focusing on our target audience following. I think I said that right. Yes. And just a little tidbit, you guys, most likely you're watching these videos because you are a candle maker or a product-based business that is just trying to work the ins and outs of pricing and struggles and launching and marketing and growing and all of the things that would be a positive keyword under the tree or umbrella of small business growth. And here's the thing. There are so many candle makers out there, and there is so many tips and tricks and so many things that are inspiring and wonderful and great. But at the end of the day, I hope that you guys put yourself in the shoes of those other candle makers that are trying to make a business and things work for them. I'm a pretty much open book, but I will tell you guys that through platforms like Instagram or Facebook, where you are following my actual branded account for candles, I hope that you guys maybe take a school of thought of maybe this doesn't need to be a comment that I leave on her asking about what wick should I use or how did you make that or what's your secret ingredient, i.e. I don't have one, just disclaimer. And maybe sending those through private messaging because I really, really am trying to focus that platform through my customers and not my candle makers. I love you guys, don't get me wrong, but just something to think about when we're moving through all of these moving parts of growing our business and our audiences. All right, guys, if you have any burning questions or the ones that you see the most in your groups that you want me to address, please leave them in the comments below. I feel like this type of video is just going to be like an ongoing thing and really is like, what is the best way to blank? Maybe that's what I'll title it. I don't know. Thanks so much for watching, guys. As I said, my name is Ashley. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I would absolutely love it if you come along on this candle making journey with me and all of my highs and lows on running a product-based business. If you have any questions, always leave them below. And if you're looking for some more one-on-one help from another candle maker or just from my marketing and business brain, please sign up for my 30 for 30. It's $30 for 30 minutes, and you get unobstructed one-on-one time over Zoom to literally rapid fire any questions that you might have at me. The ones that I suggest the most to focus on are how do you reduce overwhelm and get out of your own way. Hopefully I'll finally find the time to make some merch and some t-shirts that say get out of your own way. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye. This is fun. I'm fiery. Woo! I don't know. You get my drift.